Hello, everybody. My name is Avery Williams. I'm on the business development team here at INVO Underwriting. Today, our webinar is with biBerk, and we have three amazing people here today to give you the full rundown of biBerk. We have Maya Glassman, Sarah, I'm going to not even pronounce your last name because I'm terrible at it, and then Brian. They are going to be our three people today that are going to give you the full rundown. But I'm going to start off real quick and just show you how to actually go in our portal and get to biBerk if you're ever wondering about it. You'll type in INVOUnderwriting.com and you'll click Agent Portal here at the top. When you click Agent Portal, you'll put in your information. Your username should be your email, and you should have created a password. Once you click Submit, it'll bring you automatically to our products page, and you simply click biBerk right here. It'll bring you right into our co-op page with them. If you are not registered, you will have to get registered with them, so that's very, very important. But if you are registered, you should just click here and you will be good to go. So I'm going to release the presenter to Maya now. Let me get that opened. All right, let me stop sharing. And all right, Maya, you should be good to go.
Perfect. Alrighty. So it's great to be here. I'm just gonna go quickly over a couple of slides here. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Maya Glassman. I am an account executive here at biBerk. With us today, we have Sarah Christensen. She is a licensed insurance service representative. And then we also have Brian Appel. He is our partner services trainer here at biBerk. So just going over a quick agenda, we're going to go over our BSP access and pre-work checklist. Then we're going to go over some initial login information. Brian is going to go over a quote and action for us. And then we're going to go over some status and referral processes and round it out with some important contact information for you all, and then open it up to Q&A. Alrighty, so starting off with our BSP access and pre-work checklist, your invitation was sent for the biBerk service portal from our partner agent service at biberk.com email. This was sent over to your registered email. So if you're unable to locate this for any reason, please be sure to check your junk mail folder. Additionally, we ask that you only use one email per user or agent. Having one user or multiple users access the BSP via like multiple access points can cause issues. To accept the invitation, you're going to want to click the partners link that we sent over to you, which will grant you access to the biBerk service portal. And we also recommend that you bookmark the website for the biBerk service portal just in your little browser. That way it's easy to click and access. If you're having any sort of access issues after accepting the invitation, please try logging out of the biberk.com/partners website, also known as our biBerk service portal. We recommend you clear any cookies and log back in before reporting the issue. If you are persistently having login issues, please email our technical help for agents at biberk.com email with a screenshot of the error message, and then they will troubleshoot that with you. Alrighty, for your initial login, again, you're going to want to go to www.biberk.com/partners. You're going to log in using your registered email and password. Just a quick note here, your registered email is the only compatible email for the biBerk service portal. So whatever you applied with is the email that you're going to want to use. In our login screen, it's going to prompt you to put @biberk.com. Just ignore that. That's just an example. You're going to want to use your registered email. Alrighty, and then I'm going to hand it over to Brian. He's going to do a quick quoting demo for us.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great day today. My screen should be sharing with you. So the first thing you want to make sure that you see when you're logged in properly to the BSP portal is your name in the upper right-hand corner. So that's always the first indicator. The second one will be that you'll only see a pencil icon to start a new quote. So if you see a button marked Get a Quote, you're not logged in properly under the biberk.com/partners login, and you wouldn't get credit for any of those quotes. Excuse me. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is click on the pencil icon. It is going to pop up a new window the first time you are landing on our site. Please note that we're in our staging portal here for demo purposes today, but you'll properly start under the biberk.com/partners. So it'll pop up into this initial window here. This is where you're going to try and class your insured with us through keywords, which will then direct the insured to a class code with biBerk. We do use keyword to class them. So generally speaking, start with the best one word and then let the system give you some choices. So we're going to start with the word plumbing and then notice that the system is starting to give some choices to you. The word construction as well will give you a lot of choices in the trade industry. So there's multiple ways to get to the proper spot. There's also keywords for apartment buildings. So if you're trying to do like landlord policy, lesser risk, so we have a strong appetite for those. You'll have either apartment buildings 4 units or less, or greater than 4 units with or without office spaces. So if they are a true apartment building risk that fits that criteria, then you could select one of those. There's also a landlord classification for a landlord that owns residential properties. They are non-owner occupied, but this is for residential properties, 1 to 4 families. We can entertain those as well. We also have mixed use scenarios where you could have a restaurant on the bottom floor and then apartments above. We would entertain that. You would just simply class under the restaurant to properly risk it. And the same goes with commercial spaces as well. So if you have, let's say, an auto repair facility that a landlord owns and they want to rent it out to a mechanic, you would just select, you would class it under the auto repair, and then that'll properly rate the location for our risk. So a couple things to keep in mind. So we'll start with the word plumbing and go next. This will be for your W-2 employees if the insured has any. Then it's going to ask about employee count. So notice the system says exclude subcontractors, workers, owners, and officers. They'll be accounted for in a different spot in the quote. Owners and officers are their own category, and subs are in a different spot. All right, so these buttons are going to determine a few things on the quote and if it's going to add building coverage or not. So the first one, these two here, I run my business out of my home, or I lease the space from others. These are best suited for workers' comp, professional liability policies, general liability policies, or business owner policies with business personal property coverage. These will not add the entire building to the quote. I work at a job site. It's going to give you the same results as I run my business out of my home. It's not really needed to be used. These next two options, I run my business for property I own and own a property and lease to others. These are both going to add the entire building to the quote. This one here, this situation, this is for when a business owns everything. So they want to cover the business operations, the business personal property, and also the building that the business owns. You would choose this option here for that situation. This option here, I own a property and lease to others. That would be for the lesser's risk option. So this is going to add the landlord liability and coverage for the entire building only. It wouldn't provide any coverage for the interior tenants, ops, or their property, just stuff that's permanently part of the building. So that's how these two choices will differ. If you do select this, it will definitely add the building to the policy. Sometimes you'll have the insured owning the building in their own name and then leasing it to the business in the business name. That would just be a lease of space in that situation. So we're going to go and I run my business out of my home. Best practice is to check all of the boxes for furniture, inventory, or tools. That way the system's always going to display everything that's offered for you. Vehicles would display a commercial auto product once that is available, fully released to everybody. It's not currently at this time, but check with your partner for options as well. But this way you're going to make sure you get every option offered to you. So make sure you're always using the zip code for the physical location for the insured. That's going to determine the offerings. So the system will come back and it'll describe to you, and you can typically check offerings in 30 to 60 seconds. Just by going through these first 6 screens, you can determine our initial offerings for the keyword selected in the zip code. We would offer workers' compensation or a business owner policy with business personal property coverage or general liability to this insured. We wouldn't offer commercial auto because it's not fully released to partners at this time. And professional liability wouldn't be available in this line of work. All right. So that's one way you could easily check availability at biBerk. That way you could know really quickly on what we would entertain. And for contractors, you could add better coverage for tools and equipment inside the quote on a general liability under the contractor's tools add-on. So that's an option if the contractors are looking to cover their tools, so they wouldn't necessarily need a business owner policy. So we're going to click on workers' compensation to go into the quote today. All right, so we're always going to be next day at best for binding. We're not going to offer same day or previous day. Just the year the business started. This will be your entity type here for how is the business structured. Notice when you have individual selected, it's asking for the insured first and last name, and then a possible DBA name. We're always going to add the policy in the name of the insured if they're a sole prop, and then attach any DBA name as well for their business. Notice when you select another entity type, it is going to flip over to a limited liability company. It's going to flip over from the insured name over to a business name, and then along with an optional DBA if you have that as well. This will be your total payroll for all employees here, including clerical and other employees. This next question here will allow you to break out some of this main class payroll into a clerical class code. So you're always going to indicate the total payroll here, and then indicate just the clerical number here. So this scenario would break out 40,000 of the 100,000 into the clerical class code, and then 60,000 into the main class code. Please note you generally can't exceed 45% of the main class code with clerical payroll. The quote will refer, and then underwriting will most likely decline if once you're getting above 50%, as the risk wouldn't be commensurate with the premium we could charge. This next question here will address subcontractors and how they're used and if they're required to carry their own coverages or not. If the insured is requiring their subs to carry their own workers' comp, you indicate yes here. And then the system will just ask about what percentage of operations are being done by said subcontractors they employ, whether they're subbing on a small percentage or all of them. Then the system will rate it properly based on that choice. The insured will need to provide copies of these subcontractor certificates if they are stating that they are requiring them to carry them. That they'll be needed to be sent in for audit purposes. If they don't provide the certificates, the payroll paid to those contractors will be added in the audit. So something to keep in mind if you're choosing this option here. Notice when you select, we don't require them to have insurance. It is just asking for a dollar amount. This is going to add dollar for dollar in the main class, the same as W-2. So this scenario here would add 100,000 in W-2 and 100,000 in subs for a total of 200,000 in the main class. The system may ask clarifying questions regarding if the insured is using subs for other types of work. This is for rating purposes only. If you do get asked questions like this, it's not going to add any alternate class codes. Currently, biBerk does class highest risk. All right, so we'll back on the subs for now. Just your business name and address. So the system may or may not find your exact address. This is a fictitious one, so it's not finding it. So it is suggesting another city in a different zip code entirely. You wouldn't want to do that, as that will give you an error in the quote. This suggested addresses should only be for clerical in the same city and zip that you requested. If it did find the address, you wouldn't see suggested, and you just would have to verify it. If you uncheck this box here, it'll let you add a separate mailing address. All right, this next section, it's very important that we're only using the insured's contact info here. Using agency contact info will lead to referrals and declines that normally wouldn't happen. It could eventually lead to a loss of quoting privileges altogether. So it's very urgent that we always have the insured's contact info here. It's very important for that. In case we do need to reach out to the insured for any reason and all to assist with your quote. We do have a system of checks and balances in place in case your insured does call into us. They will always be redirected to our partner services team for proper handling of any quotes that you've generated that have called into us. All right, and once you're ready to move forward with the application, you'll go ahead and hit continue. The next screen is for the owner and officer information and the number of officers for the business and how many you want to cover on the policy. The system will ask if any offices are clerical in nature. So you can add officers clerically to a policy, but one thing to consider is that officers do get added at state minimum payrolls, and some of those can be quite high. So the ratio of 45% of main class would still apply. So be sure that you have adequate main class payroll before trying to move officers into clerical, as it may cause a referral. Now, if you had multiple officers and you're looking to cover both, one's at the office, one's not, that would be an entirely easily attainable scenario, as they would cancel each other out. Or you could also simply exclude officers if they don't wish to be covered at all by the policy. This would cover the one officer on the policy in the main class. The services tab will just be the underwriting questions. This will just further align the insured's operations to biBerk's underwriting guidelines. The system will ask you questions about the insured's work and claims. So indicating one claim might not necessarily lead to a decline or referral. It may just flip it to an alternate carrier that allows the one claim risk. 2 or more claims for workers' comp will always refer. You'll always need loss runs submitted with your application. 1 claim for general liability or professional liability will always refer. So you always need loss runs when submitting any submissions with claims on those types of policies. But if the system does refer for claims, always provide loss runs because underwriting will ask for them. The system will give you question mark icons to show you what more information about what the questions are looking for. The system will ask a clarifying question about the insured doing any construction work in the state of New York. This will lead to a decline, as we do not allow our policies to travel to New York for any construction work. We're not offering workers' compensation in the state of New York at all for any line of business, for any line of work at all. So we have exited the New York market entirely for workers' comp. This next question here is for multiple brick and mortar locations. If you click yes here, you would need to submit the multi-state worksheet over to underwriting that breaks down each location's address, payroll, and employee count. You would also indicate yes here if the insured has permanently based remote employees operating in other states, as we would need to have those states added as well. So you would indicate yes here. The system will refer, and then in the referral conversation, you would indicate the remote employee's address, and then the employee count and total payroll if there are more than one employee in that remote employee. We just need the address of one of the remote employees to state. All right, and when you're ready to move forward, you'll hit continue. The summary page will just break down everything that you've entered in the application. You could edit it by clicking the pencil icons that pop up. You could go backwards in the application through the tabs up top here in the status bar, or you can hit back and modify at the bottom of the screen to go backwards for the quote as well. You can click save here and enter in an email. It will appear it's sending a proper proposal out. However, it's not at this screen. It'll just send a proposal out that's safe to come back and finish your quote. So you want to click on view quote. It'll take you to the next screen, and it'll give you proper pricing on the quote. And it will give you an option to generate a proper proposal here. Notice that it says email my quote. This is the proper spot to send out your proposal. We would recommend that you send it to yourself, as the proposal will not have your agency info listed on it at this time. You would choose either plan. Even though we did indicate to include the officer on the previous screen, the system will still allow you to take them off on this screen. The standard plan won't include the officer. The plus plan will include the requested number of officers. So that's the differences between them. If the insured wants quotes for both, you could send one of each, and then it will generate two different proposals with the same quote number, but they will have different information on them. You could change your limit info here and to go to higher limits, and the system will update in real time. It's always going to default to the base limits. The max limits will be also displayed here in the quote. You wouldn't be able to get any higher on workers' comp or general liability other than what's displayed in the system. Professional liability may entertain limits of $3 million/5 million and $5 million/5 million with a proper contract and manual submission to underwriting. A little tricky to get done, but it's possible. But workers' comp and liability do not have any options for higher limits than what's offered in the system. So you choose what plan you want to get. So even though you could get a proper proposal on this page, you can send it to the insured. We do recommend that you proceed all the way to the end of the quote. That way it will validate the FEIN on the next screen. The insured does need to have a valid FEIN or a valid Social Security number in order to receive a workers' compensation policy with biBerk. No temporary IDs or alien IDs are allowed at this time. Keep going and hit continue to purchase. You'll end up on our final landing screen. So you could also email your proposal on this screen. If you wanted to send different installment plans, this is probably the best spot to send it, as it'll change it up for you. So there's currently no discount for paying in full on workers' compensation. General liability or business owner policies may offer a 5% discount. It will highlight that discount has been applied when selecting one pay. You do have to pay in full at the time of purchase in order to gain said discount. Professional liability will offer two payment plans, either 12 months flat or pay in full with a 10% discount. So that will only be your choices on professional liability. You would enter in your credit card info here, come down to the bottom of the screen, be sure the insured is aware of the terms and conditions. You would have to click the boxes to move forward after entering the credit card info. All of our policies are 1-year term. The insured can cancel early. However, we will short rate penalize in the states that allow for early termination. So keep that in mind. You would hit purchase with the credit card. That would bind the policy instantly. You will have access to the declaration pages as well immediately. So you could bind approximately 60 to 70% of quotes instantly with biBerk. So that's the advantage of our system. If you're confident in the application info, the system gives you an offer, go ahead and get that policy bound for that insured. So now, if you're on the fence about a quote, or if the insured only has direct draft as a form of payment, you would have to hit the submit to underwriting button, advise underwriting of the reason for referral. Direct draft cannot bind a policy live, so underwriting would have to manually review it, release the proposal back to you, and then you could use direct draft to make your down payment. The policy will issue 2 days later after the payment goes through. So that's the only way to bind with direct draft. You would also submit the underwriting manually if you had other questions or concern about the insured's ops and its line up to the keyword that you chose, or if there's extended requests you wish to ask of underwriting as well. So you just make sure whenever you manually submit over, you always include a detailed conversation in the box to underwriting, or they will decline with no conversation submitted on that. All right. So that is everything that I have. Let me go ahead and stop my share, and then I'll turn it over to Sarah for the next portion.
Hi, everybody. Okay, if you can let me share my screen. Just one moment. Let's see. Everybody, can you see my...
Yep.
Okay, all right. And if we're good to go, if you can hear me, let's talk about statuses. So for our statuses, there's a few of them you're going to see in BSP. For example, quote, bound and issued, referral, referred, awaiting underwriting, waiting for info, in progress, incomplete, and declined. There's a few different types of declines you'll see. To continue a quote, basically what you'll do is pull it up in BSP at biberk.com/partners. The best way to do it, if it's not on the dashboard, is to go to the search bar at the top of the page, enter in whatever piece of information you have about the customer, such as phone number, name of business, etc., and then click the type of info it is. It'll be like a little box in the drop down, and click that one and it'll look for your quote. Once you're in there and it pulls up, you'll go to the underwriting tab, which is about halfway down the page on the right, or excuse me, yeah, on the right, and then click the continue purchase path link under the underwriting tab. That's when you're coming back to the quote. Sometimes if your quote does refer, what'll happen is that you'll have to search for them the same way, but except this time you'll come to the underwriting tab and it will show you either why the application has been referred, or you'll need to review the information in the application. And in that underwriting tab, there will be some boxes for you to fill out and a button to press, but make sure that you look at everything. That refer status basically means that it is in the buffer in between you filling out the application and the underwriters actually getting it. It usually means that BSP has flagged a question or contact. And then so when that happens, you'll go into that tab. The refer status will have you confirm all the details, and then over here it will have some boxes in the account rep section there. Just, if there's any information in there, go ahead and delete it out, put your contact details in there, and then click submit to underwriting. With every time you refer a quote to underwriting, you must enter a conversation. How you do that is the underwriting tab that is in, the underwriting tab that's about in the middle there. Click that button, and then on your right hand side, there should be a plus new conversation that comes up. There's going to be 3 boxes. One is going to be your subject line. The other one's going to be a drop down, and the other one is going to be where you provide your explanation. Make sure that in the subject, you can just label it as referral. The drop down, you'll choose pre-issuance review, and then message will be the explanation, or clarify issues mentioned in the referral reasons. You can also, if you're still not sure, let's say referral reasons there wasn't anything in that referral reasons and you're not sure, provide a complete description of your risk for the underwriter, and provide any social media or website so that they can start their review. Click post, and then the status is going to change from referral to awaiting UW. So oftentimes what you'll see is that if you have a multi-state or multi-location condition, because you can only put in one location at a time, that multi-state or multi-location condition that's been marked in the application will also cause the application to auto-refer. You're going to have a spreadsheet that corresponds either with the workers' comp or with the BOP or GL. They are Excel worksheets. Basically, what you'll do is you'll fill those out and send them to underwriting. Make sure that you know in that conversation that you're sending that to them. The max number of buildings and locations that can be added to a policy is 10. Please bear in mind that if you don't have a copy of those, maybe they weren't filed, or they get deleted from your inbox, it's okay. We can just always fire one off to you via email. Awaiting underwriting is going to be your next status after you completed the referral process. That means that now your application has been submitted to underwriting for their review, and it's in their queue. But no underwriter is actually started their review yet, but it just means that it's waiting for the next available underwriter to start their review. Once you have submitted an application over to underwriting, please don't submit a new one. It confuses the underwriters. They look at everything in their system about your customer. So extra applications for the same line are going to cause delays in them completing their review. Also, just as an FYI, any changes that need to be done to the application once it's been sent over to them also needs to be done by the underwriter. So you just make sure that you stay in that same conversation thread and let the underwriter know that what kind of changes you need, such as date, name of business, etc. Once it's in underwriting's hands and an underwriter has been assigned, they'll basically follow up with any questions, release the quote, or decline it. So those are the 3 things. If they have questions, the status is going to be changed to waiting for info after they ask their question. They're going to need extra information. You'll receive an email. Please do not respond to the email. It actually creates confusion for the underwriter because sometimes people answer questions out of order and it just makes everything confusing. So to keep everything straight, please log into BSP, provide your reply in the same conversation. Make sure you don't click at, plus new conversation. All you have to do is go back into the original conversation, click on that, and then there should be a reply link. If paperwork is requested, for example, like let's say the underwriter wants to look at your loss runs or they need a worksheet, they'll let you know. Make sure that in the email that you send, you include the quote number, what you're sending or the reason for it, and the attention to the underwriter that requested it. The email that you send it to is underwriting@biberk.com. Note in the conversation afterward that you sent this info. Please bear in mind that email is only for paperwork that underwriting asks for. Please do not send anything like endorsement requests, applications, or appetite questions. They will not entertain that. Underwriting in progress is going to be a message that also comes up as a status. This happens once an underwriter has been selected to review your submitted referral. Typically, it just takes about 2 business days for them to respond. Usually, it's less than that, but you will need your patience if it takes up to those 2 business days. An exception is when the premium is pretty big, usually $70K or higher. Then underwriting will need additional time to perform their review, so it may be an additional 5 business days. Once underwriting reaches a decision, then the system will automatically email the outcome, for example, declined or accepted. An incomplete status is going to be kind of a dead end. Sometimes this happens when, let's say you stop too early in the quote, or if the system times out. It's basically going to be the way to get around it is to start a new application. For a decline, there are a few different types. Sometimes the system declines it before you can refer. Unfortunately, there's nothing further you can do. A decline means that the system has determined that we can't accept the risk. It's based on the answers to your questions in the application. So make sure that your information is accurate. And if it's accurate, unfortunately, then it's not going to be a fit for biBerk, and you'll need to shop with another carrier to see if they're a fit for your customer. Declined by CAUW means that it is declined by a live underwriter. They've determined that we can't accept the risk, so the system then will email a decline letter to you. Again, reasons for decline quotes won't be provided. Unfortunately, calling us, we can't work around that either. A decline by agency does occasionally happen. This usually happens when the system is timed out and closed the quote. Sometimes, like if your customer, you work on a quote and you come back 10 days later, that will have expired. If it hasn't been submitted to underwriting with the process that we just discussed, you'll just need to rekey the quote. Otherwise, if it has been a quote released by an underwriter and they've sent you a proposal, there is a process for that one. Pre-submission, this one, you'll need to kind of infer by clues. The quote either needs to be completed and you'll follow the referral steps, or the system has declined the risk as not acceptable. Duplicate submissions, we ask please don't submit duplicates. Unfortunately, they do cause confusion and will cause delays and issues down the line. So make sure that if for whatever reason you're confused about, whether or not how to submit a quote, and folks will call us about that. We can kind of give you some encouragement and see what you really need to do. If a declination is made by an underwriter, you can seek reconsideration, but you do need to make sure that you provide facts and new information for the underwriter. The underwriter can decide then if they can reopen the submission or not. Reopening an expired quote. This is when a live underwriter has offered a proposal. You have 10 days to accept the proposal. If not, the system will close it. You can ask for it to be reopened. Make sure that you go back into that same conversation you were having with the underwriter. Let them know that you would like to reopen it. Give them a future date, like for example, next day or further on, of when you want the quote to be reopened, and confirm that there are no losses or events leading to a claim, and no changes to the business. The underwriter will then go ahead and rescind the declination and then generate a new quote with the effective date that you ask for. We can reopen the quotes for up to 3 months after that. If after those 3 months are up, then you'll have to rekey the quote. Payments, once they're made, there's 2 different statuses that you'll see. One is bound, the other is issued. A bound quote, a bound policy is when you've made a payment, but the system has not issued the policy yet. It takes up to 24 hours to issue. Now, for issued policies, the sale is closed, payment was made, and now the policy is active. In this case, you'll be able to create certs. You'll be able to pull documents from the Documents tab, and you'll be able to email out, create new certificates. Auto pay, that can be set up at the time you bind, or you can set that up at a future date. However, just an FYI, it's automatic on policies under 1,000 when you bind, just at the end of the quote application. If you are setting it up, if you set it up that way, it automatically gets tacked on for premiums under 1,000, but you can remove it in BSP after you bind the policy. If your insured is on auto pay, they can stand to save about $3 to $9 per month or per installment if they are on auto pay. They can set up auto pay either with card or draft, so they do have a few different choices. When it's time to charge them, they'll receive an email as a reminder 1 to 2 business days before their payment is withdrawn. Taking a payment, of course, make sure that you read the binding statement. It only needs to be read one time, and you just need to make sure you include all the names of the lines that you are binding. When you take a credit card also, make sure that you turn off the recording on your phone if you record your calls. Anytime you take a credit card, it's critical that you do that, just because it's good PCI. So as far as terms have been so make sure that once you read those terms, there's a check mark box that says that the terms have been read aloud to the insured or the customer. check mark that, and then click purchase. You're good to go after that. After this, Maya is going to go ahead and take over from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Alrighty, I'm gonna get my screen shared here in just a moment. Alrighty, so we're just gonna go over a quick review here. Always make sure you are at www.biberk.com/partners when you are entering a quote. If you aren't there, you're in our direct-to-consumer portal and you won't receive any credit or commissions for a policy you write if it's anywhere outside of this biBerk service portal. To confirm you're logged in to the biBerk service portal, your name and agency code should be visible in the upper right-hand corner. Some best practices, expiring policies at our sister companies should not be submitted to biBerk, and the contact information that you input for the insured must be for the insured. Any use of agency information will result in a submission hold, and continuous use of agency information will result in termination of our relationship. This is done for a few reasons. The main one is because when you submit a risk and if you're using your agency information, if you were to submit another account, but you used your same agency information, our system will try to link those two together and see that they're completely different, and that just causes issues. So please only use contact information for the insured. And then here's some important contacts. I'll go over them briefly. The one on the top left here, that is your main contact that you should be using. That's our partner agent service at biberk.com. The perfect phone number for them is our 855-430-7220. You're going to want to use this contact for any how-to questions. If you need to request certificates of insurance, if you have any, appetite questions, you need to add anything to a policy, you want to make a payment on the policy for the insured, things like that, always reach out to our partner agent service at biberk.com. If you're having any technical issues, please reach out to our technical help for agents at biberk.com email. That'll be if you're having login issues, if you need to add a new user, or any error messages you're receiving, that is the perfect place to go for that. Our policy services at biberk.com email is only used to request cancellations and send in LPRs, or if you have any forms like an exclusion form that you need to send over to us, that's the place to go for there. And then underwriting at biberk.com, please only email underwriting at biberk.com if you are needing to send in requested documentation for a referred policy, or if underwriting is requesting, tax documentation, anything like that, that's the inbox you will use. Any other communication outside of sending documents would need to be in the conversations tab. That is the main correspondence place that you will use to contact underwriting outside of sending documents. But this is the end of our presentation. We're going to open it up for questions here in just a moment. I did want to mention that we are currently running an incentive program right now. It is an additional $25 on any policy that you write with us. So that's what we're doing right now. It's any line of business that we're offering. If you bind it and it's active for 30 days, you get an additional $25. And that is going until the end of August. Alrighty, but we'll open it up for questions now.
Guys, I'm gonna do this real quick. Give me just a second. Here I am. If you could ask those questions in the question box, that would be great. We have a bunch of questions in the question box. Maya, are you able to see the question box? It should be in your top. right-hand corner, it's a
Yeah, I
question mark.
see questions and I see chat.
Okay, do the questions one. There's a bunch of questions in those, and if you all just want to go ahead
Oh,
and
I
answer.
don't see
Yeah, we don't see any.
any active ones. I think you might have to read them.
Okay, I will read them. The first one said a client with two one-story buildings on the same lot, 10 feet apart. Both buildings owned by clients, but operate two different businesses with one owner in common. Would it be acceptable to write? And if so, to be classified as I run my own business from my property that I own, or I own a property and lease to others.
Are they trying? Well, it depends on if it's are they looking for a lesser's risk is the question. So when you're doing multi-building anyway, if it's a landlord risk, our multi-location worksheet will have a class attached to each building. So you would class each building under the occupant on the multi-location worksheet and then submit it over to underwriting for review. That's so the lesser's risk for the landlord option, that's always going to be I own a property and lease to others. I run my business from property I own. That's when the business owns the building they operate out of and they want to cover everything on one quote. Hopefully that clears up.
Okay, and then we have someone named Brian. He also asked, he just said all states, question mark. So I'm assuming he's asking if biBerk is available in all states. Not sure. Brian, if you can maybe, not as in Brian Apple, the other Brian Seltzer, if you
Yeah.
maybe want to specify more on that, and then we can get you an answer. But Bonnie said it's commercial auto coming down the line soon to brokers.
Well, I mean, the biBerk doesn't write in every state. I'll let Maya answer on the broker stuff. But
Yeah.
general liability is not every state. Workers' comp, every state except for the monopolistic ones. Professional liability, most states. We do have a state map on our website. Maya, you might be able to elaborate on some appetite guides that might have the states listed as well.
Yeah, as far as commercial auto goes and availability to our partners, we're in the testing phases right now, so it's not readily available to everyone. But if you had like a commercial auto quote that you wanted to write, you can definitely get in contact with your wholesaler, and they should be able to assist you with that.
Okay, the next one says, Kimberly asked, why is it a declined reason given?
Why don't we give you decline reasons? Because of the nature of our business, our applications do have you have to answer the questions in the application accurately. And when some people don't do that because they're trying to trigger a policy, it is bad for everybody. So we do have to keep our cards a little close to our chest on some things. Sometimes declines happen because maybe we stopped writing that business, but very rarely will we be able to provide you any details about a decline, unfortunately.
Okay, it looks like we have one last question, unless anybody wants to add any more. It says, can you please let us know the eligible list for commercial BOPs?
There's not really you mean like a list of all occupations? Like I'm not sure if they.
We
I
have
mean,
an
we
appetite
have the
guide.
appetite guides. That'll give you a broad appetite. I always highly recommend using the portal. I mean, you could check availability in those first 6 screens in like 30 seconds. Like literally just find the keyword, put in the quick bits about employee count, and then the appropriate button. It'll give you a live offer of what we entertain for that insured in that zip code for that keyword. I
You
mean, if
know,
when questions come in, that's what I use to check it. I don't check appetite guides. Like, I just
yeah,
open up a quote and I
I
check.
go to biBerk.com and get a quote, and you answer those first 6 questions. Don't go on to the application, but
No,
if you
don't do
go through
that.
Don't do that?
Sorry. No,
Log
no.
in?
Agents should never go to biBerk.com. So
Yeah.
go under
Okay.
partners. You could click the pencil icon. It'll
Mhm.
take you into a new quote under your biBerk.com partners link.
Okay.
So sorry for like butting in there.
For the
But yeah,
confusion.
yeah,
No,
we don't ever
I don't
want to
mean to
have
cause any
them
confusion.
go by mistake to biBerk.com. That's all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that didn't happen.
That
All you have to
makes
do is
sense.
click the pencil icon. It'll take you into the first 6 screens that I went through in the demo. That'll give you offers just like that. Like you don't have to. You're not actually
Yeah.
generating a real quote by doing that until you
Mhm.
actually click one of the actual buttons.
Okay. Yeah, if you click one of the policy types, then that's when you get
Yeah,
a
that's the only time it counts.
yeah.
Okay, it looks like we have one more question, and it said there's a COI question. Is omnibus
Mhm.
wording request accepted? For example, XYZ company and any subsidiaries and affiliates that may directly or indirectly own or manage any property or properties at or for which the vendor performs any work named as additional insured or the general liability policy.
Yeah, that should definitely probably be sent. Have that agent should call into our service team. Any extended wording, we're very particular on certificates. We do
Mhm.
recommend that you have us issue them and work them for you.
Right.
As a best practice. So definitely call in. We would have to review the example, review what endorsements are needed to address that, and maybe address an endorsement with certain characteristics to possibly meet that in the description. But that definitely can't be handled on this call. Definitely call in, and one of our team members could go over that with you.
855-430-7220.
Well, that looks like that is all our questions for today. Thank you, Maya, Brian, and Sarah for being here. If y'all have any questions, you all can reach out to me, or like Sarah just gave you the number for biBerk. We really appreciate you all being here today for our webinar, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Absolutely, everybody.
Goodbye,
Thank you.
everybody.
You have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.